I understood this, it changed my life. This is cradle. This is grave. Like the life of a human being. You're born and you die. Yeah? You create and you consume. This is usually where you find the retail market. This is where Mr. and Mrs. go and buy. In almost every market, this thing looks like this. Few people here and a whole lot of people here. The reason is actually very simple. Because the barriers to entry at a retail level are much lower than the barrier to entry at this level. So, in almost every business, the higher up you go, the higher the margins get. That's why there are few people up here. Yeah? But the further up you go in the value chain, you'll notice the more money there is to make. So, let's talk a bit about roads. I know their business well. Let me pretend I don't. How many kitchens do you think they have? 50 branches? Really? So, at this level, they have about 50 branches, right? But you said they have one big factory? They don't. They've got 3, but let's assume your 1 is correct. Where do they get their food from? Hey? From their own farm. What's that tell you? Where's the margin? It's way up here. Otherwise, they wouldn't invest in it. Okay, so they've got their own little farm here. Okay, so what have they done? They went and invested literally 50 million bucks in a farm so they can sell a can of beetroot for 30 rand. Right. Now I'm building my business. I'm you. I want to compete with these guys. Should I be investing my money? Where should your money be going? The best advice, I call this ratchet up. Best advice I can give, and I give it to all entrepreneurs. You will almost always start here. All of us do. But what you got to do is you got to figure out a way to invest up. Yeah? And then once you perfect this, you got to figure out a way to invest up. Which is why, guys, and I'm going to say something I'm sure is going to upset someone in the room. Which is why we have to stop calling our companies holdings and group. Let me finish. If you're a holdings company with a series of services companies, that's fine. But if you have a functional business that does a thing, you can't hold things. You must operate things. So your business can't be Zibusisiwe Holdings. Your name is it's literally got to be what you do. It's got to be manufacturing or packaging or whatever, but that's got to be the name of your business. So every day when you wake up, you are not confused about what is your business. It's in the, you understand? It's in the name of your business. You get it wrong because what you want to do is you want to diversify way too soon. Yeah, and the other thing is because a lot of us start our businesses not knowing what business we're in, we hold things. Because I don't know if today, then I want to supply school feeding schemes. Then I want to buy my mother and Nando's franchise, so I'm going to call it holdings. But you're confusing yourself. Pick a struggle and fight a struggle. It's a lot easier. Get in. So it's a lot easier. Get in, fight a struggle, and lose. But then be certain who have lost. And then you move on to the next thing. Make sense? By the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but you know that everything you touch every day has a Sasol product in it. Vaseline is petroleum jelly. Petroleum comes from a substance made by Sasol. You use bleach for your clothes and for your washing dishes. That's a product from Sasol. Skirpot, the scour, is a product that comes from Sasol. Some of the polyethylene you find in the jersey you're wearing comes from Sasol. The stuff they use to make your hair and to burn it for the ladies, that stuff comes from Sasol. The plastic that goes into the weaves that you're spending money on, that shit comes from Sasol. When was the last time you saw Sasol running a TV ad? Yeah, see. So what they do, told you, yeah? So what they do is they almost always start at source and work their way down. It's hard here because this is technical and this takes time. But here's the trick, and I love that you asked the question. The trick is, there's no Instagram post here, Chief. You understand? Like, you can't hashtag, hey, umhlaba wami, hashtag. There's no, there's no, what are you talking about? So that's why I said to you, where's the battle in here? Because if you want to be seen, hashtag entrepreneur, hashtag follow me, hashtag just bought it business class, you're not, these businesses aren't hashtagable. There's nothing to hash, what are you hashtagging? This is hashtagable because that's where you want people to buy. But the people who buy are buying from someone who made. It's a bit like, guys, it's a bit like the mafia. The guy who runs it, nobody knows. Nobody knows. But everybody knows the front man. Yeah? Chain, value chain, value chain, value chain. Whatever business you're in, just go into your own mind and go, what is the value chain for this business? Who controls the source? Because that's where I need to get to. Make sense? You know Tiger Brands. You know Tiger Brands, right? Okay, so Tiger Brands is in the same position. Tiger Brands, AVI Foods, all of them. Which is why Tiger Brands now invests in its own manufacturing. But Tiger Brands doesn't own farms. Okay? So when I buy a Tiger Brands product at Woolworths, the input, the beetroot for that product doesn't come from a farm owned by Tiger Brands. Which means Tiger Brands has arrangements with farmers or somebody to give them the input for the food that I buy from them. Make sense? Then Tiger Brands supplies to Pick n Pay. You may not know this. Tiger Brands gets paid 120 days after supply. So if they supply today, 120 days from today, let me give you guys a timeline. They supply today, 120 days from today, 3, 6, 9, 12. Tiger Brands get their money for the stuff they supplied then. Let's go back. So they supply today, yeah? What happens in 30 days? Do you know what happens? Pick n Pay places another order, which means 3, 6, 9, 12. They get that money. What happens on the 30 days? What happens, you know, after that 30 days? Another 30 days? Another order. Guys, Ratchet, follow me on this. 3, do you get it? So by the time they place the first order here, by the time they get their money here, they've had 4 more orders. Yeah? So it's called working capital. So when Tiger Brands thinks about financing their business, they're not thinking one order. They have to be able to finance in a stream of 10 orders before this money comes back into the cycle. And that's why guys don't understand the basic economics. So whenever you go to the shop, you go, why is this bread so expensive? That's why it's expensive. Because the cost of interest to carry the funding to finance this has got to be financed by someone. Make sense? Right. But that's on the output side. Let's talk inputs. So day one here, Tiger Brands supplied. Yeah? Got the order to supply. But before they got the order to supply, they had to buy the raw materials. Would you agree? Before they bought the after they bought the raw materials, they then had to manufacture. Would you agree? Okay. So they manufactured 30 days before, bought 30 days before, and invested in a factory to do all of this 30 days before, and hired people to work in the factory 30 days before that. 3, 6, 9, 12. Before one order was placed, they had to finance all of that. Then after one order was placed, they finance all of that. Now that you understand that, that's the problem with being in the middle. You finance both sides that way all the time. This is so important, guys. So a lot of these companies list because they need the cash from shareholders or pension funds with money that comes through the liquidity chain of a listed stock exchange where they give disclosure of the information so that they can have the capital up front to invest in this infrastructure so that they can get their money back. So when you go through, and this is, I think, I'm going to say something that sounds unpopular, but forgive me because I think it needs to be said. So what we do is we go, this company makes 10 billion. Why can't they pay the basic wage? But you must understand the economics, guys. Eh? I'm not saying the wages are right. Please misunderstand me. I think a lot of South African companies get away with paying rubbish wages to our mothers and fathers. And you can see it because of what they pay the executives and directors. Okay? So there's clearly a wage disparity there. But I'm saying if we are going to have a real conversation about how to build businesses, you need to understand this whole value chain. Then the last thing I want to say to you, and this will give you a bit of hope. The more difficult the problem you have to fix, the better you should stick into that industry. The more difficult the problem you have to fix, the better you should stick in that industry. Because if you have to fix a difficult problem, guess what happens to the next person who tries to compete with you? Same problem.